the way, this is day 18. This is my friend Ray Guirguess.
That's good.
He's been a supporter of the Live Like a Rockstar show since its inception, so we decided to have him on today. So we were having a really important discussion earlier, and what were we talking about? We were talking about like what it takes to be a really good musician, be a good player, and to really know your craft. That's kind of what we were touching on. And how far does your personality and confidence show when you play?
Exactly.
Right. Okay. So, and we were kind of saying that, you know, there's a certain selection of people that we recognize because through their devotion, not so much talent, like they had a bit of talent, but it's through their devotion of continually practicing, continually pushing themselves forward through their instrument, that they've become the great musicians and music players that they are.
Exactly.
That's kind of what we were touching on, right?
Yeah.
And, you know, I was also kind of saying that while, you know, that's an important skill to have, and that's kind of a necessary mentality to approach. You could probably apply that to anything in your life, couldn't you?
Absolutely.
So Ray, you've been through a lot in your life. What situations can you remember where it's just the prolonged commitment to something is what cut you out and enabled you to succeed in some kind of key situation in your life?
Well, let's say.
Look at the camera.
Okay, so you have go way back actually. I wasn't always in music, but I've always had a longing to do music. I've been through many detours, spending years studying other stuff, whatever it may be, overcoming injuries, whatever it is.
Talk about the injuries. Talk about overcoming, because you've had some pretty bad injuries, and even this summer I've seen you went through some tough times, and you beat it. Tell us about that a bit.
Well, I had an injury 3 years ago, actually. I went skydiving, decided not to land properly, so...
That's unfortunate.
Yeah, I had a reconstructive surgery on my ankle, put some screws and some plates in and everything. And, I mean, you're bedridden, I couldn't even get up to practice. Like, it's just, you don't even know what you're going to do the next day. Thankfully, you walk after. I was lucky to walk. It was... And every single walk, every single step I take is actually a blessing, pretty much, because I'm able to do that. And it's a new start, really. I decided to take that as a metaphor of just starting life all over again and continuing with what I wanted to do. So I got in the music program, and after second year, just this past summer, it turns out that I was diagnosed with a pinched ulnar nerve. So I'm a guitarist, by the way, and a few of these fingers just lost all sensation, precision, and so forth. And I found it just crippling. I couldn't play. I couldn't have anything was working for me. And I thought, well, after all these hardships of years, not being able to do anything, and you're finally in something after tons of perseverance, and then it's still being stripped away from you. And
That must suck. So what did you do about it?
well, I didn't want to get down on myself too much because
What did you do
I'm not
about
going
it?
to do anything. So I just decided to start from the base foundation and build my way up rather than being so consumed with music.
And talk about exactly what you did in that situation.
So yeah, so what happened was you can imagine injury after injury, I was completely out of shape, and I felt that first off, I need to have the vitality and energy to actually
So he
get
set a
myself
goal.
back
You
on
see that? He set in his mind what he needed to do and where he wanted to go. He set a target. Continue.
Yeah, so I had a back to that injury, my ankle. I wanted to get in shape, but I'm not going to be running and putting any impact on it, so I decided to take swimming. This was about 3 months ago, and I just got hooked on it. Lost a lot of weight, felt better, accomplished more, and that in itself beats, say, feeling down and depressed about myself for having injuries and feeling like...
And you lost some weight.
I
You
lost...
gained so much of a sense of vitality as I've seen the difference in you.
Yeah, it's my first time seeing Dan after the summer.
He's like a changed man. It's pretty ridiculous.
Yeah, a month and a half, I lost, 5 inches off my waist?
Holy crap.
Yeah, and in 2 months, I'll be a lifeguard.
Okay, you better not take my spot on the I Live Like a Rock Star show. but so, and he's really touching on one of the really key principles of the whole reason why I even chose to do this show in the first place. And it's that for example, if you take music, for example, music is a great metaphor on life. For example, when I sit and play the drums, I'm really interactive with everybody that I'm playing with. So let's say I'm playing with a bunch of people. I'll sit and I'll go into it really confidently because I want to be heard. Right? So I'll go, and depending on what kind of music we're playing, I'll choose the type of little details appropriate to play with the people that I'm playing with. Now, how does this relate to my personality outside of the drum kit? Well, I am a very upfront and out loud and vocal person. And I also have a lot of what some people would term chutzpah. Okay? So, someone with less chutzpah in life, very oftentimes, if they have less chutzpah in their daily life, they might have, for example, chutzpah means guts or courage or balls. These are all synonyms for it, right? So I have the go-getter attitude, which pushes me to go and seek out to play, to talk to different musicians. First of all, to get them into opportunities to play with me, no matter what their skill level is. Because I'm not going to think that I'm above learning myself and I'm not above helping someone else learn and come up to a higher level. So I'm going to be that helper to do that rather than say, I am too good to practice with you, I'm sorry, goodbye. Whenever I can, I'm going to offer my hand to those willing to come up. That's part of my philosophy in life. In a large measure, that will come out in my playing. Because let's say I'm playing jazz, which is like a collective improvisation. When someone is not really coming through on their instrument, say he's playing guitar. He's not really coming through on his instrument. I'm playing the basic beat. He's playing some kind of guitar riff at the same time. I'll play little things like that in order to jog his mind, give him ideas. So if he was playing, and then he could go, only because I did that first, to give him, oh yeah, so here, you can play that, I can play something that sounds exactly like that. Because my mind is oriented towards helping, but see, my mind is oriented towards helping in my daily life. And so you see, when it transfers into my instrument, it all transfers forward. That's the kind of basic premise, and that's what we're going to wrap up today's show. Today's activity, Ray just enlightened me on a principle that a lot of motivational speakers actually talk about. It's called chunking. Why don't you explain that? And then the activity will be to go into your notebook, because we had them buy a notebook in the activity, in the program, and look at the goal or goals that you set, and apply what Ray is going to tell you about right now. This is chunking. Explain it.
So basically, let's say I have a goal for a long term, 5 years or whatever. As an example, like swimming, you want to go to the Olympics. You have a big goal, times you want to reach. But until then, you're going to chunk it down into smaller goals for shorter time periods. So maybe a month, 2 months, whatever it may be. And then every single time you practice, or in this case, you're in the shed, you're a musician, every single time you have small specific goals. So you go in there with a purpose. And the motivation feeds itself, and it's going to propel you forward in ways where if you didn't do that, you're not really directed in any way.
So you're saying, take whatever goals you've written down in this past show, as per our instructions, that you hopefully did the activities of setting your goals that we instructed you to do in this show, in the previous day. And break it into a chunk. So we had them set I'm going to have to edit this shit out. But we had you guys set a bunch of different goals on different days. take your yearly goal that we had you set. We had you set a 1-year goal on a previous day, and chunk it into a 6-month target, chunk it into a 3-month target, chunk it into a 1-month target, and chunk it into a 1-week target. Put those targets, glue it up on your wall, or put it in your success binder. I know I've told you to glue a lot of stuff up on your wall in these shows, so maybe you might want to, instead of gluing all these papers on your wall, create a little binder or notebook where you take all these activities and you put them in order and you look through them every day.
You know what's also good is if you have session by session and you mark it down, there's kind of a relief of, oh, I finished this goal, you can slash it off, you finished it, and so forth. It's a nice little thing to keep you going.
Cool. Thanks so much, Ray.
Yeah,
YouTube.com/ILiveLikeARockstar. Here's the musical outro. If you want to make a change in the world now, you gotta raise your brothers and sisters up in this world. But then I said in this world, not in the next world, because we don't know if there is one. You want to make a change now, you better step right up and do right. Step right up and do right. Do right. Do right now. Do right. Do right. Do right now. You better step right up in this world and help your brothers and sisters out, because when you do right, right comes back into your life. You better step right up and help out. You better do your part for the family of humanity now. See, we don't need no hate, no anger or jealousy. We don't need no violence. We don't need to plant seeds of hate. And that's it for the I Live Like a Rockstar show. Goodbye, everybody, and have a good day.
Right on.
There you go. You gotta go, because the ordeal